Hey guys, welcome back to Taxes Made Simple. I'm your host, Karlton, and in today's video, we're gonna talk all about tax evasion. Ooh, scary. More specifically, we're gonna talk about how Wesley Snipes, the famous actor, the famous movie star, got caught with tax evasion. If you don't know who Wesley Snipes is, let me refresh you. He's an actor. He starred in movies like Blade Trilogy, White Men Can't Jump, Demolition Man, Major League, and Cheek Raw. But on October 12, 2006, Wesley Snipes was charged with tax fraud by the United States government. Wesley Snipes spent 3 years in prison between the years of 2010 and 2013. And we're gonna take a look at exactly what Wesley Snipes did wrong, how he got caught, and how you, taxpayer, can prevent the same thing from happening to you. Let's dive in. Now, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Wesley Snipes appeared in a lot of successful movies that earned him millions of dollars. In fact, between the years of 1999 to 2004, Snipes made around $40 million from acting. As a result, Wesley owed millions of dollars in taxes to the US government. However, unlike many other successful people with large tax obligations, Wesley decided he was going to simply try to avoid paying any federal income taxes on his earnings during this time. So, he just did not file any income tax returns between the years of 1999 to 2004, despite making tens of millions of dollars in these years. As you can imagine, the IRS eventually caught on to this, and in 2006, Wesley Snipes was charged with 1 count of conspiring to defraud the United States, 1 count of knowingly making or aiding abetting the making of a false and fraudulent claim for payment against the United States, and 6 counts of willfully failing to file federal income tax returns by their filing dates. Now, although Snipes was charged with all of these things, he only ended up getting convicted for 3 misdemeanor counts for not filing taxes between the years of 1999 to 2005. After he was convicted, he tried to offer to pay $842,000 to resolve the $23.5 million in back taxes and penalties that he owed the United States government. However, this offer was rejected by the court, and he was instead sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Snipes served his prison sentences at the McKean Federal Correction Institute and another adjacent prison in Pennsylvania. So, how did Wesley Snipes get caught? Well, Wesley's tax evasion activities were actually heavily influenced by his accountant, Douglas P. Rosley, and well-known tax protester Eddie Ray Kahn. Rosley and Kahn convinced Snipes that he did not legally have to pay any taxes. Rosley and Kahn made Snipes believe that he was exempt from paying federal income taxes because his income was earned domestically, not in a foreign nation. Guys, there are some tax protesters who believe that the federal income taxes are unjust in general due to the way that they interpret the United States Constitution. Many of these people attempt to evade federal income taxes under pretenses such as the foreign versus domestic income theory that I just mentioned. Wesley Snipes adopted these ideologies from Kahn and from Rosley, and all 3 of them paid the price for this. That's correct. Rosley and Kahn also both received prison sentences for tax fraud during the Wesley Snipes tax evasion ordeal. Rosley and Kahn's sentences actually both ended up being a lot longer than Snipes' sentence, believe it or not. The moral of this story is that Wesley Snipes got caught evading taxes because he was convinced by people he trusted to just stop paying them and not file his tax returns. Some people might be able to use this strategy to evade taxes, but it is illegal, and there is a very high chance of getting caught by the IRS, as you've seen here. This is especially true for high-profile individuals and wealthy individuals like Wesley Snipes. Unfortunately though, for Wesley, the IRS tends to pay closer attention to the tax returns or lack thereof of famous and highly successful people. But guys, you should also know that even if you're not rich, even if you're not famous, you can still be convicted of tax evasion if you try to avoid paying taxes like Wesley Snipes did. In fact, the IRS uses something called an information return processing system to help track down and identify tax evaders. With this system, the IRS matches the information that is received by employers and third parties to the tax returns of the individuals that the information was filed for. So, if your tax return is completely different from the information that the IRS received from your employer or another party who paid you the money, then it is a major red flag for the IRS. You also need to be aware that this system exists because you think about trying to outsmart the IRS and not pay your federal income taxes. That's not going to happen. Guys, Wesley Snipes had professional accountants and tax experts working for him, helping him to hide his money in offshore accounts and otherwise conceal income from the IRS, and he still got caught. This means that if you, taxpayer, try to evade paying your taxes to the IRS, then there is a very good chance that you also will get caught. And if you do, you could face some extremely negative consequences such as Wesley Snipes. Now, let's talk a little bit more about what we can learn from Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes' tax evasion situation and resulting prison stint is a cautionary tale that teaches us a lot of valuable lessons. The first thing that is extremely important to learn from Wesley Snipes' ordeal is that you shouldn't listen to anyone who tries to tell you that you do not have to pay taxes in the United States. There is always some form of tax that you will have to pay. And anyone who is under the age of 65 in the US who makes at least $12,400 in gross income per year is required to file a tax return. Now, of course, there are many deductions and exemptions that you can potentially qualify for, but it is a mistake to assume that you do not have to pay taxes just because your income was earned domestically. This mistake resulted in Wesley Snipes having to sit in prison for 3 years, so let's not let that happen to you. Now, another important lesson to learn from the Wesley Snipes tax evasion case is that not filing your tax returns is not a good tax reduction strategy. It's okay to be in a situation where you can't afford to pay the IRS, but it is not okay to evade the IRS by not filing. The IRS will most likely catch on at some point, especially if you're making a lot of money. If you want to reduce your taxes, it's far better to just work with a high quality accountant or tax strategist who can help you lower your taxes the right way. A high-quality tax professional can help to find all of the best deductions and help you to create an effective tax plan that will help minimize the amount of money that you're going to end up owing at the end of the year. It might not be possible to reduce your tax obligations all the way down to zero, but in most circumstances, the right tax strategy can still provide a significant lowering of the taxes that you will end up owing. So, what ended up happening to Wesley Snipes? Let's talk about that. Well, Wesley finished his prison sentence in 2013. However, despite the fact that he served a lengthy prison sentence, the United States government has still not fully let him off the hook. In fact, they still expect him to pay $9.5 million in back taxes and penalties. Snipe took his case to the United States Tax Court, claiming that he does not possess the amount of assets required to pay off his debt to the IRS. He said that his former financial advisors sold off many of his assets without his consent, leaving him with insufficient funds to pay the debt. Okay. Well, the United States Court, under Judge Kathleen Kerrigan, ruled in 2020 that there was insufficient evidence to prove that Snipes no longer possessed the assets needed to repay the debt owed to the IRS. So she upheld the IRS's decision for Snipes to pay the $9.5 million. And the reason why Kerrigan made this ruling was because Snipes failed to provide any receipts, any documents providing that the transactions he claimed occurred did actually occur. So even though Wesley Snipes' troubles began in the early 2000s, he is still on the hook for $9.5 million for tax evasion 2 decades and 3 years, 3 prison years later. If this isn't enough to scare you out of trying to evade taxes, then I don't know what will. Guys, tax evasion is very serious, and IRS does not take it lightly, as we can see from this situation with Wesley. Even serving prison time can still not be enough to get you out of the way of the IRS and owing money. So the conclusion, even though it might be tempting for some people, you really should never try to evade taxes like Wesley Snipes did. Unless the government does away with federal income taxes entirely, which is entirely unlikely to ever occur, considering it's the most important funding source for the government, you will still be obligated to pay your taxes in accordance with the United States Tax Code. If you have any questions about the United States Tax Code, how to reduce your tax burdens, or how to recreate a winning tax strategy for yourself, your family, your businesses, then feel free to get in touch with my company by clicking the links below this description. Guys, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video, that you learned something valuable from this video, from Wesley Snipes' tax evasion story. If you did, I'd love for you to do something for me. Go ahead, like, subscribe. I'd love for you to join the community and share your thoughts in the comments below. My name is Karlton Dennis. Just want to say thank you so much for joining this video. I'll see you on the next one. Over and out.